Tonight, you're probably going to eat something. Maybe chicken, maybe fish, maybe a burger. And without even thinking about it, you'll ignore thousands of other animals on this planet. Pigeons, rats, frogs, snakes, spiders, squirrels. The thought of eating most of them probably feels strange, maybe even disgusting. But for almost all of human history, supermarkets didn't exist, restaurants didn't exist, food delivery didn't exist. People lived one failed hunt away from hunger. So here's a disturbing question. If ancient humans were starving, did they eat every animal they could find? The answer turns out to be much stranger than you think, because sometimes the difference between dinner and death was a single bite. Let's start with hunger, because hunger used to mean something completely different. Today, hunger is usually an inconvenience. You open your refrigerator, you order food. Within minutes, calories arrive. For most of human history, hunger was a countdown. Every day you failed to find food, your chances of survival dropped, and your brain knew it. This is why many people imagine ancient humans eating absolutely everything. Because when you're starving, surely you'll eat anything, right? Actually, not even close. Because nature is filled with food, it's also filled with traps. Imagine walking through a forest 50,000 years ago. You find berries. Some are nutritious. Others shut down your organs. You find mushrooms. Some can feed your family. Others can kill you before sunrise. You catch a frog. Maybe it's harmless. Maybe it's carrying toxins powerful enough to stop your heart. And then there are animals. Animals carrying parasites. Animals carrying diseases. Animals capable of killing you before you kill them. This is the part almost nobody talks about. Ancient humans didn't survive by eating everything. They survived by learning to say no, and sometimes those lessons were horrific. Imagine someone in your group eating a strange plant. At first nothing happens, then they become sick. By morning, they're dead. That tragedy suddenly becomes information. For hundreds of thousands of years, human knowledge was built through painful trial and error. Every poisonous berry, every dangerous mushroom, every deadly animal left behind a lesson. In a strange way, human knowledge is partly written by the mistakes of the dead. But then something strange happened. Humans became one of the most successful predators on Earth, not because we were stronger. A lion is stronger. A leopard is stronger. A bear is stronger. What made humans different was our ability to calculate. Every hunt became a question. How dangerous is this animal? How much energy will it take? How much food will it provide? And perhaps most importantly, is it worth it? Because hunting itself was terrifying. Imagine standing in front of a giant boar. It has tusks sharp enough to tear open your leg, or an aurochs, a wild ancestor of cattle weighing nearly a ton, or a mammoth, an animal so large it makes modern elephants look small. One mistake, one badly thrown spear, one broken leg, and you're dead. No hospitals, no surgery, no antibiotics. Just death. But that wasn't even the worst part. Ancient humans lived in small groups, maybe 20 people, maybe 40. Now imagine one hunter dies. You didn't just lose a person. You lost someone who gathers food, someone who protects children, someone who carries knowledge, someone who knows where water is during a drought. One injury could become everyone's problem. Suddenly, hunting isn't bravery, it's mathematics. Food wasn't simply about calories, it was about risk management. Imagine chasing a rabbit. You run, the rabbit runs. You run more, and then it disappears. You just spent precious energy and gained absolutely nothing. Ancient humans understood something intuitively. Every hunt is an investment: time, energy, risk, and hopefully food. But sometimes the calories gained from an animal barely exceeded the calories spent obtaining it. Nature can be cruel like that. A meal can actually leave you hungrier, which means our ancestors couldn't afford reckless decisions. They had to become masters of asking one question: is this worth pursuing? Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherers found something surprising. Many groups don't spend all day hunting. A large portion of their diet comes from plants, fruit, nuts, roots, honey, seeds, fish, shellfish, sometimes even scavenging. Because hunting large animals is expensive, it burns energy. It risks injury, and it often fails. This completely changes the picture most people have of ancient humans. They weren't cavemen endlessly chasing mammoths. They were opportunists. They took whatever gave them the best chance of surviving tomorrow. And this is where things become even stranger. Humans started eating things that most predators completely ignored. Honey stolen from angry bees, shellfish hidden under rocks, tiny insects packed with protein, bone marrow extracted from animal bones, even foods that required hours of preparation just to make make them safe. Humans weren't simply hunters. We were experimenters. We looked at the natural world and constantly asked one question: can this be turned into food? And that curiosity may have become one of our greatest advantages. Because while many predators specialized in only a few kinds of prey, humans became remarkably flexible. We could survive in forests, grasslands, deserts, mountains, even frozen landscapes. And flexibility is one of the reasons our species spread across almost the entire planet. Humans are actually weirdly picky eaters. Think about it. Many people eat cows, but not horses. People eat shrimp, but are disgusted by insects. Some cultures eat frogs. Others would never touch them. Some eat dogs. Others consider that unthinkable. Food isn't just biology. It's culture. And ancient humans had culture too. Different groups surrounded by the same animals often made completely different choices. One group saw food, another saw something disgusting. Why? Because humans don't just inherit genes. We inherit ideas. Eat this, avoid that, never touch those. And eventually, those rules stop feeling like rules. They start feeling obvious. And this reveals something profound. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors were surrounded by scarcity. Yet they still made choices. They still avoided certain foods. They still calculated risks. They still followed cultural rules. Because survival isn't simply about eating. It's about deciding every single day what is safe, what is dangerous, what is worth the effort, what isn't. And strangely, you still do exactly the same thing. Because deep inside your head, there's an ancient survival machine, a machine built over hundreds of thousands of years. The same machine that once looked at an unfamiliar animal and asked, is this dinner or is this death? So did ancient humans eat every animal? No, not even close. Some animals were too dangerous. Some carried disease. Some weren't worth the energy. Some became forbidden by culture, and some simply looked like a terrible idea. Ancient humans didn't conquer the planet by eating everything. They survived because they became incredibly good at refusing things. And perhaps that's the strangest thought of all. Every meal you eat today, every food you refuse, every instinctive feeling of disgust, contains echoes of people who lived tens of thousands of years ago. Because beneath restaurants, beneath supermarkets, beneath modern civilization itself, you still carry the mind of an ancient forager, a mind that understood something we often forget. Just because something can be eaten doesn't mean it should be. And perhaps the reason you're here today is because your ancestors learned to walk away from more meals than they ever took a bite from.